I love the Steam Next Fest. It gives you the opportunity to try out so many games in bite-sized bits and for free. I've seen success in some of my favorite games of the year that came from previous Next Fest. The problem that can arise is there are so many games to play. I am here to talk about my 10 favorite demos that I tried. First off, if a game catches your eye, be sure to wishlist the game on Steam. It helps the developers out, and their hard work of giving us free entertainment deserves something in return. I am not doing full reviews because they're demos, so to follow suit, I am doing bite-sized, paragraph-long reviews and letting the gameplay run so you can see for yourself. The footage that you are seeing now are from 2 other games that have demos but are not listed as part of the Steam Next Fest. I wanted to feature them anyway because they are already on my wish list. Their short form reviews will be below in the description. Some of the games listed I streamed, so I will be using the recordings from that stream. If you are interested in my stream, the link to my Twitch will be below in the description as well. Number 10, Mind Over Magnet. I knew about Mind Over Magnet through the developer's YouTube channel, Game Maker's Toolkit. He does great content about video game developing. This is his first game to execute what he preaches. It's impressive knowing he had to redo a large portion of the art just before the fest started. It does a good job of making the magnet puzzles feel different from just jumping to solve them. Number 9, Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers. The demo has been around since last year, but in the newest demo, it got a major graphical overhaul. It was my first take on a poker-like deck builder. While Balatro feels like you're playing against the game, D&D Gamblers, my little nickname for it, pits you against an actual opponent, making blackjack a 1v1 versus game. It creates a totally unique feeling and doesn't feel unfair since it tells you when your opponent will stand. I described it as blackjack, but you add any type of card to it. Library cards, social security cards, even get out of jail cards from Monopoly. Number 8, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yoyo. The game looks and feels like it was inspired by games released on the Game Boy Advance, and that's in a comparison that developer Pocket Trap leans into, seeing their name in the intro of the game being a cartridge being inserted into a handheld like a Game Boy. The game matches the feel of being a GBA game, keeping the decisions and the gameplay simple. It's not a grandiose story, just a kid with his yo-yo, but it does a good job overcoming sounding boring. Oh, okay. Number 7, What the Car. Sometimes you need a game that is hilarious from its absurdity. Triband did it before with What the Golf. They've done it again with What the Car. You hear the premise of a car driving to the finish line, and you think that it is just like another racing game. But you say the name of each level, and that lets people know what is different about the game. Let me give you an example. A level from the demo is car with wheels but giraffes. I'll let you figure that one out. Number 6, Pinball Spire. While not the first to take pinball in a drastically different way, Pinball Spire focuses on the pinball more than a game like Yoko Islands Express. Each table is a level that you progress on, and even when the ball goes below the flippers into the drain, you transition into a previously completed area. I remember playing Kirby's Pinball Land growing up, but this takes the ideas to the next level and doesn't limit itself to a number of balls which act as lives. Number 5, Sworn. We tried this co-op game randomly after others didn't answer what we wanted. I did not expect what Sworn offered. A multiplayer Hades-style action roguelite set in the Arthurian legends. Not only does it change the setting, it gives 4 playable characters with different weapons to unlock. Sprinkle in visuals that remind me of Darkest Dungeon, and you have a co-op game that will keep your game group hooked for a while. Number 4, Beats of Betrayal. I am quite familiar with Crypta the Necrodancer, so I expected the same type of gameplay where you are moving with the beat. The hook here is that you can move freely, but your attacks are done in time with the beat. Not only with your melee attacks, but each time the music goes to the snare drum, you can hit a different button to use ranged attacks. These are perfect changes to make Beats of Betrayal feel like its own monster. Number 3, I Am Your Beast. What this does for a first-person shooter feels so satisfying. Enemies don't attack until they see you or you fire a gun. You can drop on their head, which kills them and keeps you hidden. Levels only last around a minute, but you still kill a lot of baddies. Your gun is still a weapon. Once you run out of ammo, you just throw it. The dialogue between the levels make you feel like a rabid monster, and the gameplay complements that. Number 2, Cato. This isn't the only puzzle platformer I played, but the idea of the buttered cat paradox was something I wasn't aware of, let alone expected in a video game. While it's an awesome premise to give a cat a jump based on if it has a piece of bread attached to it, the kicker that elevates the game, pun not intended, is that the toast and the cat can be controlled as separate characters when they're separate. It really was. And was just like, oh, this is like, oh gosh, okay. So I'm gonna need to get off this. Number 1, SCHiM. The visuals already had my attention, but combining an emotional narrative told without the use of words and those colors, it stands out amongst games even in its genre. I did not expect the shadow creatures to be able to interact with objects creating their shadows. That idea adds so much. I cannot wait to explore SCHiM more.